Hello, everybody. My name is Alan, and welcome to Crimicide True Stories, the show where we take the best stories from our true scary stories and share them with you guys. Today's episode is going to be a little different. In celebration of Crimicide Paranormal coming out this summer, I've decided to do a series special on true stories and do 4 true paranormal stories. I've delved into our paranormal for their best stories, and we're going to get into those. Our last story in today's episode actually comes with photo evidence, so that's exciting. Stick around for that. And with that, let's get into today's stories. This first story is from Reddit user Heartlisp. Okay, so my whole family is in tune with some kind of spirituality or paranormal shit. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Both my parents and all my siblings, there are 8 of us, have seen or heard or felt ghosts, demons, or other dimensional beings, whatever the fuck you want to call them. I have a handful of stories, both from my personal experiences and stories my family has told me. This is my first time posting on Reddit after I read a couple stories from others, so eventually I'll post more. But for now, let me tell you about these green hands I saw when I was 8 years old. I've been scared of the dark until I was 27. I'm 32 now. I was always a scared little boy because of all the shit I've seen and heard, so I used to sleep with the light on when I was a kid. I shared a room with my older brother, but my bedtime was like 8 p.m. and his was 11 or 12. So for hours, I would be too afraid to fall asleep, and I would wait for him to come to bed so I would feel safe closing my eyes, knowing he's with me, you know? Sometimes, he just wouldn't come to sleep, so I eventually fell asleep waiting for him, with the lights on of course. Whenever I closed my eyes, I would be so scared of seeing something in front of me, like a huge face or monster or some shit when I opened them, so I would pull the blankets over my head and tuck my feet in and sleep all balled up under the tight blankets and try to sleep. But because I was a fat kid, I would sweat on the pillow because it was so fucking hot under there, breathing so hard, you know? My brother would come home late at night and be super pissed that the pillow would be damp and the blankets and all that. So he made me use a bedsheet as a blanket since it was way thinner. For nights and nights, I slept under the sheet and didn't sweat anymore. But one night, I wasn't tired and I just couldn't go to sleep. I remember staying around the room and just talking to myself and imagining what I would do tomorrow at school. And stuff, just kid stuff. And I remember this clear as day, like I've told people this story and I don't know what to say anymore. I know it to be true, but who knows? So as I'm laying there on my back, I had the sheet tucked under my heels, so the sheet was pulled tight and taut over my toes. It was a Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck sheet, just so you know. And I don't remember if I heard noise or anything, but I was staring at my feet, and I saw these 2 huge green hands slowly creeping up from under my bed. The foot of the bed, not the sides. Now these hands were ugly, like straight up green, like that bitch from Oz. Long nails, yellowish, bumpy, and each hand was the size of 2 hands. They both together came up, hands open like they were gonna high-five my feet, and I remember it was so slow too. But I was paralyzed. I couldn't move or scream or do anything but stare. It was so unreal. They crept and grabbed the loose sheet under my feet and pulled it hard from under my heels, and then slowly lifted the sheet over my feet. Now I can see my skin. I saw my feet exposed and they let go of the sheet right before they grabbed me, and I fucking screamed. Like instant crying and tears and screaming, I jerked my feet back and saw them slowly slither back under the bed with their hands still open. Like they looked like they belonged to that eyeball hand creature from Pan's Labyrinth, only green. I screamed for my mom and my stepdad, while crying and with my knees curled up to my chest, and I remember my parents took their sweet time to come to my aid too. I felt like I was sitting on my bed, screaming for like 30, 40 whole seconds. That's a long time, dude. So when my mom busted in to see what was wrong, I immediately jumped off the bed and ran into her arms crying, pointing at the end of the bed, telling her, "There's green hands! There's green hands! I saw them!" And she's like, "What? What the hell are you talking about?" My stepdad came in, and she told him what I said, and he was just as confused. He walked over and checked under the bed, and found nothing, of course, just a backpack and a shirt, and maybe a wrestling toy. Steve Austin, I don't know. But nothing was there, and said I was dreaming. Now I know for damn sure I was not dreaming, because this night I couldn't sleep, and I decided to just stay awake and wait for my brother to come home. I never pulled the sheet over my head. That's how I slept every night. Sheet over my head. I can't see them, they can't see me kind of thing. So was I dreaming? Definitely not. So now I'm trembling, horrified, snot-nosed, watery-eyed, rambling kid, and I begged my mom to let me sleep with my sisters. She said no. Stepdad said no. It was just a dream. Go to sleep. You'll be okay. Haha, nah, fuck that. I am not sleeping on that bed or this room tonight, you know? So I begged and cried and squeezed her harder, looking up to her, pleading for my life. And eventually she said, okay, just tonight. I slept with my sisters for like 2 weeks. Fuck that. But my mom is religious, and we all went to church on Sundays, you know? She just wanted us to pray that I'll be safe, but even still, I just couldn't sleep in that room anymore unless I was with someone. No one knew what happened. It was just a weird night, but my sisters knew something had to have happened because we all saw some weird shit in that house and other houses. So that was just another thing to add to why we like to sleep with the lights on. After many months, I just forgot about what happened. I moved into my sister's room and we shared it. I don't know what to say. I saw green hands. I felt them pull my sheet over my feet. I saw it. I don't know what they were, or what they were connected to, or who, or nothing. It's just scary, sure, but now as an adult, I don't know what to think. It's odd. It's terrifying. But I don't know. Maybe I hallucinated. Maybe I did dream it. Who knows? As an adult, I don't know how to veritably explain it. I'm open to possibilities, but deep in me, I believe it was real, and it did happen. This next story is from Reddit user Ellis21. In the early 2000s, I was a Lance Corporal in the New Zealand Army. Trentham Camp was the staging camp for soldiers leaving for the front during World War I, and where I was posted there for 5 years. All camps/bases have stories attached, and this one is mine. I was training as a cook and was working the Sunday dinner shift with a corporal. There was a huge notice board on the left-hand side, full of SOPs, menus, kitchen rosters, and notices, back when everything was printed, of double-swing doors leading to the self-service area, which I was to load with the evening's dinner offerings before the mess opened at 5 p.m. The corporal on duty was in the office, a glass box on the right. As I walked towards the doors carrying a heavy tray, there was a huge breeze, pushing pinned papers off the notice board, and lifted my apron like a door was opened on a windy day. I felt pressure on my back and felt pushed. As I stumbled forward, hands full, the swing door 1 meter away opened and swung back in the same manner, as if a person had pushed through. I stood in place in shock, and the corporal came out, a bit panicked, and was all, "What the fuck, are you okay?" while looking for open doors, other personnel, and explanations. We laughed it off, shrugged, and I loaded the pass while he repinned the papers on the board. To this day, when I think about it, I can still get the same chill and hands-on-back sensation, and think that it was someone either late for a thing, or maybe even fresh back from training, or the front due to reunite with someone important. That's my favorite explanation. This next story is from Reddit user SDude27. This happened about 6 years ago at my family's home. It is the only ghost experience/encounter I've had to date. I woke up from a sound sleep around 3 to 4 a.m. and saw a man standing at the end of my bed looking at me. He was there for a fleeting second. We're talking literally the blink of an eye. I woke up, saw him for a nanosecond, then he disappeared. I don't know why I woke up because there were no noises or sensations that I was aware of at the time. Maybe I was simply aware of his presence and that's what caused me to wake up. He was an attractive man with a modern face and beard. He appeared to be wearing an outdated gray shirt. The image of him standing at the end of my bed, watching me, has been burnt into my brain since it happened. Just typing this, I have chills. As soon as I realized in my conscious mind what I had just seen, what I had believed to be a ghost, the psychological response was overwhelming. It was the most intense adrenaline rush of my life. I instantly started to break into a cold sweat, and my heart was beating so fast, it felt like I could pass out. Initially, I felt absolutely terrified and in shock. What's interesting is, this overwhelming response only lasted about 30 seconds. It quickly dissipated and I instantly felt the most peaceful feeling I've had in my entire life. It was like the feeling of taking a Xanax, multiplied by 10. I fell back asleep right away, and was glad and comforted that he had visited me. I have thought about the experience almost every day since then, almost hoping to see him again. It felt like he was there for me. It didn't feel random. 6 years later, I can't help but think he was someone I was supposed to meet in this life, but won't. I have suffered with loneliness my entire life. Or perhaps he is waiting for me in the next life. I have thought about trying to reach him again, somehow, but I am also a bit afraid of doing that. I'd love to hear feedback and advice if anyone has had a similar experience. Thanks for reading. Before we get into our final story, if you guys could comment, like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, it would really help the channel. Also, if you could spread the word about my channel, tell it to your friends, your family, or anybody, and just tell them to check out my channel. It would really help the channel growth, and I really want to see this channel reach 1,000 subscribers before I move in November. So with that, let's get into today's final story. This final story is from a deleted Reddit user. We recently visited Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a private tour for 10 people. Flash wasn't allowed during the tour, but we could take as many pictures as we wanted. The picture was taken down an empty and dark hallway, and the sound coming from the hallway is why I took the pic in the first place. I have included the original photo on the left, and the right is after I adjusted the brightness. I honestly don't know what it is. It's almost like someone in a wheelchair. Edit. After much deliberation with my SO, we have come to a conclusion that we were on the 3rd floor when I took this picture. We found a video on YouTube of a Waverly tour, and the graffiti matches the one shown in my picture. Sorry I misled everyone thinking it was the 5th. We took hundreds of pictures that night, and I am still going through them all, and brightening each one individually. Also, thanks for everyone's input. I thought this would be the best place to start figuring out where it was captured. Lots of great input. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this little detour from our usual True Stories video. If you guys want to see more paranormal true stories, leave it in the comments below. Also, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that notification bell for updates on when episodes like this come out. And remember, Crimicide Paranormal is coming out this summer. Our first episode is going to be super awesome. We're still in talks with the owner of this building we're wanting to investigate. Jake is probably going to be there. A good friend of ours, Hannah, is probably going to be there. And it's just going to be a great time. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a big thing for this channel. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.